لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد. Just before we continue with the book, inshallah ta'ala, just because today is what it is, it's worth mentioning the origins of the celebration of the Mawlid of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And I think there's nobody sitting in this room realistically, or I don't believe there is, inshallah, anyone sitting in this room who doubts over the impermissibility of celebrating the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam's birthday. However, I want to just enlighten you a little bit as to the origins of this. So let's begin during the life of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wasallam. Did he celebrate his own birthday? Not even once. What about the fact that he used to fast on a Monday and a Thursday? I don't think any of you are unaware that Monday and Thursday is a day of the week. And a Monday is a day of the week and a Thursday is a day of the week. As for the Mawlid, this is something once a year. So the Prophet ﷺ did not used to fast once a year on a particular day of Rabi' al-Awwal, nor did he used to fast for his birthday. Rather, he used to fast on every Monday and every Thursday of the week, which I think everybody realizes is not the same thing as fasting on your birthday. Even if we say, just for the sake of argument, that he fasted on his birthday for the sake of the fact that it was his birthday. So what kind of mukhalafa is it that we give out sweets on the day the Prophet ﷺ used to fast? And this is the argument. You hear these people say, but he said that I fast on a Monday and a Thursday. So this is a proof for us giving out sweets on that day. And something is wrong there. So in any case, let's go through the life of the Prophet ﷺ. He didn't celebrate his birthday, nor did he give out sweets on his birthday, nor did he march anywhere, nor did he do any particular lectures or any particular speeches on his birthday. Never mind, no problem. Move to Abu Bakr, and Umar, and Uthman, and Ali, and Muawiyah radiallahu anhum ajma'in. From the Sahaba, the Khulafa al-Rashideen, and the Khulafa from the Sahaba, the Khalifa Muawiyah who came after them. No birthday. Not even one celebration of the Prophet ﷺ's birthday. Go through Al-Imam Abu Hanifa rahimahullah. Perhaps he was the first one to suggest the birthday. No. Maybe Al-Imam Malik. No. Or Al-Imam Shafi'i. No. Or Al-Imam Ahmed, perhaps. No. So until the end of the life of Al-Imam Ahmed, there was nothing known as the birthday of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Perhaps one of the Imams of Hadith, Al-Imam al-Bukhari, Al-Imam Muslim, Al-Imam al-Tirmidhi, one of the great Imams of Hadith, until the death of the great Imams of Hadith, of the Kutub al-Sittah, there was nothing known as the Mawlid of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So where did this Mawlid come from? This Mawlid didn't even come from a Muslim. It was invented by a person called Al-Mu'izzu li Dinillah, who was an Ismaili Fatimi kafir. So much so was he a kafir that even the Rafida consider him to be a kafir. And if you want to know the level of kufr of this individual, even the Rafida traditionally consider him to be a kafir. Ismaili Batini doesn't believe in the Salah, doesn't believe in the Quran, doesn't believe in any of the outward actions of Islam at all. Not the Jumu'ah and not the Eid. But you might be forgiven for thinking that the Fatimi Caliph in Egypt instigated this practice of celebrating the Mawlid of the Prophet ﷺ alone. He didn't. He actually had 6 Mawalid. 6 birthdays you have to celebrate during the year. The birthday of the Prophet ﷺ, and the birthday of Ali radiallahu anh, who he worshipped as a god. The birthday of Fatima radiallahu anha. The birthday of Al-Hassan. The birthday of Al-Hussein. Look at his love for the Sahaba. But he added one more, his birthday as well. And the birthday of those 5 from the Sahaba radiallahu anhu wa ardahum, the Prophet ﷺ, and his own birthday, which had to also be celebrated. This is the origin of the Mawlid of the Prophet ﷺ. Yeah, Ikhwan, this is something that is really, really sad. And don't be fooled, because people after that, they try to then justify their actions by looking for some evidence. The most common one is the statement of the Prophet ﷺ about fasting on a Monday and a Thursday. How far away is fasting on a Monday and a Thursday from an Ismaili, Batini, somebody who doesn't believe in Islam at all, who worshipped Ali radiallahu anh as an incarnate God, who was the first one to invent the Mawlid of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Subhanallah, you see that there is no good in what is innovated in Islam. And as for the statement, it's not an innovation, then we say to people, it's either an act of worship or it's not an act of worship. If it's not an act of worship, why do it? If you don't believe it makes you closer to Allah, and you don't believe that loving the Prophet ﷺ is an act of worship, then we have some kind of confusion here. How can a person not believe that love of the Prophet ﷺ is an act of worship? And if you ask them why they celebrate the Mawlid, who is it that gives you an answer other than love of the Prophet ﷺ? So they say we celebrate the Mawlid out of love of the Prophet ﷺ. And love of the Prophet ﷺ is from the higher forms of ibadah, from the higher forms of worship. So either it's an act of worship or it's not an act of worship. That's from one side of looking at the argument. If we look at it from the other side, every single Eid is an act of worship. And this is a principle the ulama have established, that every single Eid comes under the topic of ibadat. So whether it is Eid al-Milad, as in your own birthday, or Eid Milad al-Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, the birthday of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, or any other fixed event which goes on as an Eid, which takes place year by year, then this falls under the topic of Sunnah and Bid'ah. Because of the statement of the Prophet ﷺ when he negated all of the Eids or the A'yad that were celebrated other than Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha. And when he came to Medina, the people, they had certain A'yad, they had certain Eids that they celebrated, and the Prophet ﷺ forbade them from celebrating them. And that is because the concept of fixing something in the yearly calendar that is celebrated is firmly under the area of Islam. So even if they say that it's not an act of worship, even if they say that we don't love the Prophet ﷺ, or we don't do it for the love of the Prophet ﷺ, we just do it as a custom because the Christians have Christmas and we should have something, then we say to them that it doesn't matter if you fix something yearly, which you have a yearly celebration for something, then this comes under the category of an Eid. And the ayat are something that is only allowed to be legislated within Islam. So we shouldn't be confused by these things. And we should try to educate, first of all, ourselves and our families. First of all, ourselves and our families. Because the sad thing is that sometimes we begin with, a Facebook post, or, we begin with telling lots and lots of people, but we see that within our own families we have still need of correction. So we should also begin with ourselves and our families and make sure that we are the furthest of people away from celebrating this Fatimi, Ismaili, Shi'i celebration. And we should make sure that we do our very, very best to educate our local, our friends, our neighbors, the people around us, and to educate the wider Muslim world. Because most of the people who celebrate the Mawlid do so out of a love of the Prophet ﷺ. And I don't believe that the people who are celebrating the Mawlid are doing so because they want to copy a Fatimi, Ismaili, Shi'i, Kafir. I don't think that's why they are celebrating the Mawlid. They're celebrating the Mawlid out of a love of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But this love will not be accepted from them because it's not being shown in a way that is in accordance to the Sunnah or to his Sunnah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So what we need to do is to direct that love to what it deserves to be directed to. Because they have a love. We shouldn't take that away from them. And when they're doing this, they have a love of him. So we want to take this love and direct it to the Sunnah. How do we show our love of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? قُلْ إِن كُنْتُمْ تُحِبُّونَ اللَّهَ فَاتَّبِعُونِي يُحْبِبْكُمُ اللَّهُ وَيَغْفِرْ لَكُمْ ذُنُوبَكُمْ. Say, if you really love Allah, then follow me. I.e., follow the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So love of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is something which is shown by the following of him and your adherence to the Sunnah every day, not one day a year. Not that you read his seerah one day a year, or you read the tafasir of the ayat that relate to him one day a year, or you read the ayat that relate to him in the Fajr prayer one day a year, but that every single day you are engaged in the following of the Prophet salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi. And I mentioned last time the famous statement of poetry, وَكُلٌّ يَدَّعِي وَصْلًا بِلَيْلَى. Everyone says that they love Layla. And everybody can say, I love somebody. Everyone can say, everybody wants to be the one who loves the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Every single person wants to be the one who loves the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But the one who really loves the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the one who follows his sunnah every single day of the year, and not the one who eats sweets in his name once a year. And so we want to try to educate people. Yes, there are some people who just take it, at the end of the day, it's just a commercial opportunity, or it's just an excuse to go out and party. Those people, they're different. They're not doing it out of the love of the Prophet ﷺ, nor do they care if it was the Mawlid of Isa or the Mawlid of anybody else. And it's just an excuse to party. For those people, that's a different thing. They need the most basic istiqamah, the most basic coming towards Islam and leaving of sin. But the people who do it really genuinely out of love for the Prophet ﷺ, those are the people we need to try to encourage them to show their love in the right way, and to show it by following the Sunnah, and by implementing the Sunnah, by raising the Sunnah, by teaching people the Sunnah, and by opposing all of those things that oppose the Sunnah. And this is how we show our